Hey everyone, we've got a 2 kilogram shoulder of lamb with the bone in. We're going to be making this on the barbecue tomorrow, so it's going to marinate overnight. So I'm just going to talk you through the marinade and the methods to get it ready. So first and foremost, we have some harissa paste, which I love putting that into my dishes, especially red meat. I've got 2 large cloves of garlic. If you've got small ones, do 3, maybe 4. If you like garlic, do 5, do 6, completely up to you. And I've got some extra virgin olive oil. So this lamb shoulder, I've already taken a bit of the fat off. There's a little bit here I'm going to get rid of, actually, looking at it, and just a little bit here. So any stubborn fat, just get rid of. So had someone comment on my knives on a previous post. These are Japanese steel, and the way in which I record, I'm watching the screen, so it's difficult to get your bearings, but these knives are super sharp. So if I'm cutting incorrectly, it's because I'm doing it half blind. So you want most of the fat off. You don't want too many stubborn bits of fat. You don't want too many stubborn bits of fat, but little bits like this, just get rid of. There were a few large pieces which I removed, but if you leave the fat, it's going to make it hard to cook, particularly when you're cooking it on a very low temperature. So we're going to cook this tomorrow on probably 130, 135 degrees. It's going to take, I reckon, maybe seven hours, maybe, hopefully less. Usually I don't make cuts so big, but I'm going to. It's feeding a few of us, so hence why I went with a bigger piece this time. So I'm just getting rid of this last few bits of fat on the top to expose the meat, and then we will get going with the marinade. So I've trimmed quite a bit of fat off. You can see there's a good chunk of it. The reason I've done that is because the marinade, I want it to get right into the flavour of the meat. Now, I'm not going to do what I normally do with chicken and put slits in to try and get the flavour in. I'm intending to cook this low and slow on the barbecue. Therefore, we're going to try and pull the meat if everything goes to plan. So now that the lamb's ready, I'm going to take my garlic crusher, crush this garlic, which is always a challenge. You can use garlic granules, but sometimes I use granules, but it's always better to use the fresh thing wherever possible. And then once the garlic is in there, we're going to put some olive oil in, quite an amount. We need that for spreading everywhere. Got some salt, probably put a teaspoon of salt in, put half a teaspoon of black pepper in, and obviously, as I've said earlier, we've then got the harissa paste as well. So there's all the garlic in. There we go, bit messy. If you don't like the smell of garlic, wear gloves. So that's all out nicely. You can obviously chop it finely, but I normally just use this. I find it a lot quicker. So there's that. I'm going to put in the pepper next. So half teaspoon of pepper. That. Teaspoon of salt. There we go. Put some olive oil. 2, 3, 4 tablespoons of olive oil, and then we have harissa paste, 1, 2 heaped teaspoons of that, and then I'm going to add some oregano as well, so just dried oregano, approximately a tablespoon, and then I'm going to give that a mix. Now the harissa will give it a really nice red colour once it's mixed. Should come through in a minute. There you go, see, it's looking really nice. Now you can add some lemon juice as well, which will give it a little bit more liquid and flavour. So we'll put some lemon juice in. So I'm going to put in probably a tablespoon. You can use fresh lemon, but I'm just using it from, there we go. So we're going to mix all that in, and then we're going to rub it all over the meat. Now you can obviously use your hands, you can use gloves, but whatever you feel comfortable with. So we're going to do that next. So I'm going to use 1, 2, back of the spoon, get it in there nicely, and I'm going to leave this to marinate overnight. I'm going to get some cling film, wrap it in and seal it, obviously in the fridge. Should always put meat at the bottom shelf in the fridge. So we'll turn that over now. And I do have a little bit of cling film here at the bottom, which the meat came in. You can see there, there's not a massive amount of fat there, because I obviously worked on it earlier. So obviously there's more visible meat here. So that's nearly all the marinade done. If you don't fancy olive oil, you could try it with yogurt. Personally not tried it with yogurt before. If you were just doing a roast, yogurt would probably work, but bearing in mind we're doing a slow cook, olive oil is best. So there we go. So that's got a beautiful colour on it. And what I'm going to do next is get my hands in there. Make sure it's really nice. So you've got bits of meat. Make sure you've got your hands in everywhere. Make sure it's nicely spread. So I've got the bone here going all the way through. So I'm hoping that should come out quite easily. May not come out straight away, but it should come out pretty easily once it's been cooked for a long period. And that's the lamb marinated. So I'll just take those bits off my hands. There we go. So that'll be left overnight for probably going to be about 22 hours. So that's fine, give or take an hour or so. So that's enough time. So it's the day after. I've just taken the lamb out of the refrigerator, taken the cling film off, and it smells absolutely brilliant. So it has been out the fridge for maybe about 20 minutes. In about 10, I'm just going to put it straight into the barbecue. It's going to be on a nice low and slow. Probably I was going to do 130. I think I'm going to do 120 degrees Celsius for the cook. It's going to take a number of hours, and then once that's done, we should be able to take it off. I'm going to wrap it, put it back in, and then finish it off, and then pull it, hopefully. Just checking in the lamb. So I didn't in the end wrap it, I just left it going and it seems to be doing okay. So I've moved the temperature probe earlier and turn it around, see there. So it just needs a little bit longer. So in there the temperature is saying 82 degrees, so it needs a little bit longer, so we'll put it back in. So hopefully she should be done. The temperature gauge is showing 91 degrees. See, it's pulling up the end already. So I'm going to take it out. We're going to put it in some foil paper and let it rest for a good 20 to 30 minutes. And then she should pull. So the lamb shoulder has been taken out. I wrapped it in foil. It's been sitting in foil for about 30 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. Looking at the clock, I'm just going to take foil off. It smells great. And usually, look at that, straight out. That's a good sign. So I'm just going to put that to one side. And then take my pulling claws, just take the meat apart. I think there's still another bone in the middle there. So if I just turn this around, do that, it might be better. There we go. Another bone straight out, nice and clean. Sign of a good cook. The slow cook is hard to get right, so it is a sign of a good one. Awkward. So it's time to have a taste. Let's try a little bit. It's very nice. You can taste the definitely taste the oregano and a little bit of a spice from the harissa and the bark, so on the outside is very nice. And obviously if you don't have those claws, don't worry about it. So there's a bit of fat here, get rid of that, don't need that. So yeah, you can just use a couple of forks, but you see that it just breaks away in your fingers. It's exactly how it should be. Bit more fat there. Some people like the fat, some people break it down into other things. Oh, that's a bit hot, but there you go guys, 5 hour pulled lamb. Some more fat. So we're gonna have this in a nice burger bun, I think. And we'll have the rest later on.